This video is about the exact system we use to turn market signals into real conversations with the exact people who can actually say yes. This video is structured into 5 parts. First is market identification. Second is signal monitoring. Third is exact decision maker selection. Fourth is the math behind getting 10 highly intentional conversations. Fifth is the human vetting and follow-up layer. Timestamps are in the description if you already know a part of this video and you want to skip ahead. This system has generated $85,000 for Vention in 90 days, $105,000 for Connect Group, $35,000 for Hippocratic AI, 22 placements in 55 days for Elite Staffing, 39 placements in 90 days for Crawford Thomas, and many more. You can see all of those on my website. So the first part of this video is market identification. A lot of people start in the wrong place. They start with a list, or they start with an email tool, or they start with a sequence. That is backwards. If you do not know the exact market you are watching, every signal you collect is noise, right? So what I do first is define the market with precision. Exactly define it. Staffing agencies in a specific niche. B2B service businesses in a specific vertical. Any buyer group where timing matters and the buying signal can be observed. Once the market is clear, the whole system gets easier. Because now you're not looking for random companies. You're looking for companies that are actually showing pressure, right? This is a very different game. Most people prospect like they're fishing in open water. What we do is watch the parts of the water where the current changes. So the point here is simple, right? You identify the exact market first, then you monitor the exact market only. That keeps everything else clean. The second part is signal monitoring. This is where most of the value lives, because the market does not usually announce buying intent directly. It leaks it. Think about a building before construction starts. You do not wait for the full structure to appear. You notice the permits, the equipment, the traffic, the people showing up before work is visible. Market signals work the same way. It can be funding, job boards, hiring clusters, expansion, leadership changes, new roles, new departments, new location openings, anything that suggests that the business is under motion. We also have access to 19,000 verification points across B2B markets that refresh daily. That matters because it turns this into a live system. It is not a static list or one-time scrape, right? It's a live market view. And that is the difference, because if the data refreshes daily, you can catch pressure early. You can see who is moving now. You can see who is likely to need help right now. You can see who is worth a closer look right now. That is the whole point. And this is one of the reasons the system works. The signal is not random. It is repeated, observed, and it is verified. The third part is finding the exact decision maker. Most outreach fails here. People find a company and they stop thinking. They pull the first contact they can find and send the message. Then they wonder why nothing happens. That is not a messaging issue, my dear. This is a targeting issue. The exact decision maker is the person with the budget, urgency, and the authority. All of these 3 things matter. Budgets mean because they mean that they can pay. Urgency means because then they have a reason to move. Authority means because they can actually make a decision. They have the ability to make the decision. If one of those is missing, the conversation gets weaker. If 2 of them are missing, you can just let the conversation die, all of it. So we do not guess. We find the exact person, then we verify their email, then we build the outreach around what the market is already saying. That is why the message feels relevant. It is tied to real signal. It's not a generic pitch or a template blast. It's real observation. And that is what makes the contact feel natural, right? The fourth part is math. This matters because, people like the idea of intent data. But operators like us, we care about output. How many exact conversations does this system create? That is the real question, right? So let us make it concrete with the maths. Let's say you identify 1,000 exact fit companies. Then you narrow those companies down to 800 and filtering for the fit, pressure, and the contact quality. Now let's say your outreach gets you a 5% reply rate. That gives you 40 replies. Then let's say 25% of those replies turn into real conversations after follow-up and qualifications. That gives you 10 highly intentional conversations. That is the math, right? If the reply rate is, let's say, 2% instead of 5%, the answer is not to panic. The answer is to tighten the signal and improve the list quality. Because the system is built on density. If the signal density is strong, the math works out instantaneously. If the signal density is weak, the math just slows down. So the work is not just sending messages. The work is building a clean enough input that the output becomes predictable. That is the part like most people miss. They think the meeting is created by the email. It is not. The meeting is created by this long chain. Signal, fit, exact person, relevant message, follow up. There are a lot of things. When that chain is tight, 10 conversations, stops feeling like luck. It becomes like actual math. The fifth part is human vetting and follow ups. This matters because automation can move fast, but it cannot judge everything. A company can look active and still not be a fit. A role can look urgent and it still cannot be in real pressure. A market can look busy and still not be ready. Okay, so we check it ourselves, human to human. We look at the company, we look at the timing, we look at the hiring pressure, we look at whether the budget is likely there or not. We look at whether the person on the other end is actually the right one to talk to. And that protects the process. It keeps, bad fits out. It keeps weak signals out. It keeps the outreach clean. And then the follow-up matters just as much because most replies do not happen on the first touch. That is normal. So we follow up in a way that keeps the thread alive without turning it into, just without making them feel like they're a part of list. A short note, clean reminder, a relevant next step. Something like, we already have this opportunity in your market. Would a short video on it help? Would a 15-minute chat be easier? Something like that. That is enough. You do not need a long sequence, by the way. You need a relevant one. Okay. You do not need pressure. You need timing. So when you put all of this together, this system is pretty straightforward. You identify the exact market, you monitor the exact signals, you find the exact decision maker, you verify their contact, you send a relevant message, you follow up properly, you vet the company yourself, then you get the conversation. That is how this works. And for staffing agency, B2B service businesses, any model where timing matters, this is the difference between random outbound and real market access system. So yeah, that is the exact system. If you want us to help build this infrastructure for your business, the link to book a short call is in the description. See you. Bye-bye.